Hello 108 class, Mr. McHugh here with you for section 9.4. We're going to kick this off on further applications, page 1, and we're going to work with formulas here for objective number 1, and we're going to isolate the variables. Now we've been doing this throughout the semester, so big thing you're going to find out here is either you're going to take the square root on both sides or you're going to square both sides. So those are the two techniques, okay? And so these are equations, and every semester I apologize, I know this equation, it looks familiar. I think it's from physics. I'm just not sure. And scientists and engineers have discovered this relationship between these force and I'm sorry, I just don't know what the variables mean, so I apologize. Maybe I just don't remember. So, but our challenge for us as mathematicians is if you want to help a friend isolate the variable v in this equation, can we help them? Okay, and the answer is yes. And so all you got to do here is keep in mind you got to isolate that v, and there's two techniques here. Now, first technique is to either cross multiply, here's the first one, or you might like the more traditional multiply both sides of the equation by v squared, aka the LCD, to clear out the fraction, since you do have a fraction here. Now if you like my cross multiply idea, what you do is you put w, you put it over 1, that's equivalency, and then you realize you've got a proportion. You got one ratio equal to another ratio, and you set yourself up and you multiply like this. Thus you get v squared times w equals k times capital F times r times 1. And that's how I came up with that. Now let's just say, let me switch colors here so I don't cause too much confusion. Let's just say you like multiplying by v squared. So pretend you're looking at v squared. I multiply that on both sides. I would have what? V squared times v squared. You're allowed to do that. You maintain balance on the equation. What's the good news on the right hand side? V squared divided by v squared cancel out, and you're left with v squared times w equals kfr. So you get the exact same result. You pick which way works for you. Okay, now once you've got that, I'm going to encourage everybody, whatever variable they ask you to isolate, every line put an arrow on top of it so you could train your brain to say, what do I got to do to isolate the variable? The rest of the letters, think of them as like constants, and that's tough. That's what causes all this confusion in students, is to realize you got to focus on the variable that you're isolating. So next step over here, it's v squared times w. How do you undo multiplication with division? So divide both sides by w. W over w cancel out, equals 1, and you're left with kfr divided by w equals v squared. Now that you've got to this, now you hit that moment of what do I do to isolate the variable v? You've done it hundreds of times. To undo squaring, we do what, class? Yes, yeah, I know you know it. Take the square root. Okay, take the square root on both sides. What drops underneath? You know, the radical, the base. Square root squaring cancels out, and now you're left with plus or minus. Don't forget that. Now, you know, in my math lab you'd have to separate that out, but the square root of kfr divided by w. One little note, if they use a capital letter, like in here they use a capital F, make sure your final answer has got capitals. Okay, and I'll help you on a test and stuff like that, but pay attention. Mathematicians and scientists have decided that a capital F and a little f are two different beasts. They might be related, but you have to keep track of those details. And I know that's kind of a nitpicky thing, but I'll work with you. But do work hard to remember that. Okay, now let's take a look at the second example here, B, and they ask you, your friend has it here, it looks like, you know, its diameter equals 4 times the area divided by the square root of pi. Solve for A. Okay, what's my tip from the last example? What did I tell you to do? Alright, isolate it. Show that arrow. Okay, what's the situation with A? Where is it? It's what? Underneath the radical. It's in the radicand. How can I expose that? Okay, I'm pausing. I'm waiting. And of course you're going to tell me to do what? Yes. Square both sides. Because when you square both sides, what happens to the radical? It goes away, negates, it disappears. So now you have d squared equals 4a divided by pi. What's my tip? What are you isolating? Show it. W. Let's go to red here. I'll mix it up here on you. Okay, now you got a choice here. Same thing as the very last problem. You could cross multiply if you see it, or multiply by pi across the equation, but you're going to get and I used cross multiply. 1 times 4a was 4a equals d squared times pi. That's how I like to do it. Okay, you got your choice. So you get 4a equals d squared times pi. Again, what am I isolating? The a. What do I do? Divide by 4 on both sides. Bingo, bam, you're done. Okay, class. Hey, we're off and running. We got 5 pages total to do in section 9.4, so I'm going to sign off here. Miss McHugh saying goodbye. And page 2, I'm looking at it real quick. I don't know. Pythagorean theorem I look at. So I'll catch you then. Okay, bye.